I totally get the fantasy of strict minimalism. Just like you, I am completely drawn to all the beautiful pictures of these perfect minimalist homes that look like no one's ever lived there, and there's so much empty space that you could have a roller skating party. Really, the minimalist aesthetic looks amazing, and it can make it seem like living this way could solve all of our problems, and that everyone should be striving for this. But even though in recent years, as you know, I have substantially decluttered my life and 100% believe that an uncluttered, organized home can dramatically improve our life and our mental health, I still personally can't completely get on board with total minimalism. At least not how it's marketed to us. Now, I think it can and does work wonderfully for some people, but I also think that when we fail to consider our own individual needs and preferences, that rigid minimalism can be completely impractical and stressful and way too restrictive for some people. Because let's face it, not everything is clutter. And something many people don't realize is that the benefits that we can get from decluttering do not require us to dive headfirst into extreme minimalism. And from my experience, when we have this as a goal instead of a broader goal of more intentional living, we can become frustrated and overwhelmed and even give up on the idea of decluttering altogether because it just becomes way too much for us. Should we aim for quality over quantity and strive to live with less? Yes, absolutely. But I also think it's possible to have meaningful possessions and still avoid clutter. And I actually think it can be really unhealthy when we feel guilty about holding on to items if they do have a purpose or they inspire us, or we demand ourselves to follow strict rules about how many items we should have in our home. And unfortunately, this is something that I see a lot. So today I want to talk about some of the problems that I see with this ideal and then talk about some alternative perspectives that may offer you a more balanced and fulfilling approach to your living space. But first, if you're new here, my name's Nina. I help people declutter their minds and their homes using practical applications of psychology. And after having a long and very emotional talk with one of my clients, I knew today's video was something that I needed to make. But please know that everyone is different. And if strict minimalism is working for you, then I honestly think that's great. I've just come to believe that it's not the answer for everyone. So why do I think this? Well, firstly, as a creative person who completely embraces authenticity and uniqueness, I really do believe that our home should be a reflection of our personality. It should tell our story and not look like it was made in an assembly line. I also don't think that we need to try to live in a home that other people think is worthy of Instagram perfection or that looks like a sterile corporate office. As long as our home is relatively clean and actually functional, I think we're just fine. And when we go too far with minimalism, our home can start to lack warmth and personality and leave us no room for personal or artistic expression. And again, I definitely don't think our home should be stuffed, and I am completely on board with decluttering and living with less. But I do think we need to leave a little space for individuality and self-expression through at least some decor and personal belongings if we want them to be there. I also feel like minimalism can prioritize the emptiness aesthetic over practicality and functionality, especially for people that have large families or small children. And family needs can evolve rapidly with growing children, so it can be really frustrating to have to repurchase things that we end up getting rid of and eventually learn that we really did need. And in addition to that, it's just reality that a lot of things that kids enjoy are truly messy. And when we try to adhere to strict minimalism, we can feel this internal pressure to get things out of the home that we actually use or really love, or our family members actually really use and love. And we can lose sight of the fact that we still need to be able to effectively live in our home and still enjoy our life. Also, for those of us with certain hobbies or professions, minimalism can be way too restrictive. I know from experience that many artists, musicians, and DIY enthusiasts require dedicated spaces and equipment that may not fit the minimalist philosophy. As an artist and musician myself, I share this struggle and actually view my own home kind of like a big art project in and of itself. And while I completely agree that we don't want stuff everywhere, I do think it's important that we have space to explore our creative passions without guilt. And many of these hobbies do require us to have a certain amount of stuff. And since research shows us that engaging in these types of activities makes us happier and improves our well-being, I don't really love the idea of banishing these items simply to have more empty space. And overall, to be honest, I'm not really fond of the idea of labels like minimalist in general, because they tend to breed comparisons and guilt and make us feel like we have to follow a specific set of rules instead of being guided by our own values, even when it doesn't make sense for us personally or reflect our own true lifestyle. The way I see it, minimalism, like any lifestyle choice, just doesn't apply universally. It works wonderfully for the people it works wonderfully for, but I don't think we can have a singular standard when we have diverse perspectives. And from working with countless people who struggle with clutter, I know for sure that there is no one-size-fits-all approach. So if minimalism isn't working for us, what other possibilities can we consider? Well, like I said earlier, one solution is to simply embrace the concept of intentional living. And this just means that we choose to only keep possessions that serve a purpose or that bring joy to our families, and we don't feel guilty when we do so. So here we prioritize shared experiences and memories over material possessions, but we don't have any specific rules about how many items can be in our home or what should stay or what should go. And this is basically the principle that I follow myself. But another method, and we can do this in addition, is to better organize the things that we don't want to declutter. So we can have dedicated zones for children's activities and for creative endeavors and create efficient storage solutions for these items. And if we do have children, we can involve them in the maintenance of their designated spaces and help them make practical decisions about what to keep and what to let go of. And for those of us who do find the idea of minimalism appealing, but it's just not practical for our own personal life, why not try what I refer to as minimalism light, where we apply the principles of minimalism to some spaces in our home, but we still allow for some flexibility so it can make sense for our own family's needs. So in short, we really don't need to go to extremes to enjoy the practical and mental health benefits of clearing clutter. The beauty really lies in finding our own happy medium and embracing a less is more mindset without it taking over our entire lives. Because yes, less is more, but our idea of less might look a little bit different than someone else's, and that is completely fine. Just focus on creating a home that fosters peace, joy, and functionality, and don't worry at all about how to label the method. So as always, I truly hope you found today's video to be helpful and insightful. If you did, please like it, share it, and definitely become a subscriber if you aren't one already. I would love it if you would stay connected. I want to thank you so much for watching, and I hope the rest of your day is extraordinary.